So, after the men brought the baby in the house, they realized, well, first of all, they realized it was a baby wrapped in that basket and covered up. And they hadn't got cleaned up yet, and they looked at it and they were afraid to touch the baby. And one guy said, I'm going to jump in the shower and get clean and scrub real good, and then I'll be able to pick him up and hold him. And the other two were like, yeah, good, because it looks like he's about to start wailing and crying and complaining about he's hungry or he's too cold, the environment isn't good. And as the other one was showering, the other two looked at the baby and they kind of rocked the little basket that the baby was in and tried to keep it comforted. And they looked down and the baby's still on the floor. They said, oh, we should put it up on the table or on a chair so at least it's not on the floor. They realized how filthy the floor was. They could see it as they looked beyond the basket. So they get in the basket dirty with their hands and their clothes and stuff, but they put it up on the table and they were just admiring the baby, and they thought, oh, who put this baby here? And I mean, obviously it has a mother, but it just seems to be what is used as a cuss word a lot of times, a bastard, no father. And obviously it has a mother and it's born, so we know that it's a real baby. We're not playing around here. We're going to have to, just take care of it and look to other people who might know the baby or know the mother or maybe know the dad, the person that got the woman pregnant, and find out, what's going on with the whole situation. And the baby started stirring more and more, and they looked around. They could see dust in the air, and they thought, my goodness, this really isn't an environment for a baby. And as they looked beyond the table, they saw that the table still had some leftover food on it. They should have cleaned the table and cleaned the plates. And so the one's in the shower, one's starting to clean up and get stuff off the table so the baby wasn't, breathing in old food or rotten anything. Scraps that they had left over just from dinner or last night, empty cans that were sitting there and didn't smell too well. The other one just kept looking at the baby while one was in the shower and the other one was cleaning up around. And the one that was looking at the baby, as soon as the other guy got out of the shower, he said, oh, I'm glad you're out of the shower. I'm going to jump in now. So he jumped in the shower, and the other guy was still picking up things because the place was just a mess. It was just dirty, and it really was not a place for a baby at all. Well, the one that had gotten out of the shower and really got cleaned up picked up the baby and just held it. And he hadn't heard the thoughts and the words that the other two were saying about how, wonder who the mother is and if it has a father or if it's a bastard or what's going on. And as he held the baby, he said, I really like this baby. And he looked and he said, and it's a boy. That would be great. We'll just keep him here and raise him, and if we have to give him back to the mom or if something else happens and we have to give him away, we'll do that. But I'll never forget this. This is like no other day in my life. And the other one was cleaning, didn't even hear him talking, didn't even realize what he was saying. But he was saying it all out loud, just proclaiming, hey, I'm glad to be with this baby, have this baby, and to be, have this baby in our lives. And to be what this baby needs us to be. Well, the one that was cleaning up finally was able to get in the shower, and the one that was in the shower came out and said, let me hold him, let me see. And he was happy, and he said some of the same things that the first guy said. This is like no other day in our life, man. I'm really going to decide to keep this baby and take care of him and watch him grow and see how he affects our lives and as he grows in our lives and we grow. And we got to fix some things around here. We don't want the roof falling in on us, let alone on the baby. Maybe even get a different place, just move. Start all over. Well, this baby really changed their lives. Make a story that could be very long shorter. The baby boy did grow up. The three men kept taking care of him, and they changed a lot of things. They changed some of the arguing they had, some of the words they said that were just a little harsh, and some of the things they said to each other, or when they were on the phone saying to people outside of their home and people they worked with, and they just started, acting different because they felt like they needed to have a good environment. And this baby was now a young man and growing and learning, and obviously he could talk, where before the baby could talk, they were using language and thought, oh, the baby don't know that word, so it's okay to let it slide. Or when I called you this idiot or fool, the baby didn't really know. But they stopped all of that kind of nonsense. They just matured and grew up because they wanted the boy to grow up. And he did. And when that boy was a man, he went to work with them in the coal mines. Oh, one thing I failed to say that was important was when the baby was really just a newborn, one of the men decided to quit his job at the coal mine just to stay home and stay with that baby, and to take the baby out places and to see if anybody else knew the baby or knew his mother or knew his father, and would just take the baby around. And because he wasn't going to the coal mine anymore, he was able to show the baby to other people and tell the story about how this child really changed their lives, and they were just sharing with other people how great it was. And they'd meet with other people who had their own babies, and those babies were nothing like this baby because it was his. But he shared, and people that didn't have children said, oh man, maybe I'd like to have a baby, and if I do, I want to have a baby like that one, So, anyway, like I was saying, after he grew up and became a man, he actually went to work with the men in the coal mine. And the man that was quit his job so that he could stay home with the child when he was a baby, he went back to work in the coal mine. And while they were in the coal mine, while they were at work, they were talking about him and whatnot. And then when the baby became a man and could work, people at work actually met him too and said, oh wow, we heard about when you were a baby and how you were born, and about your mother, and that no one really knew who your father was, but these three men now have taken you in to their lives, and now you're here with us at work in the workday, and we've heard so much about you. And they got to know the young man and know him better and better each day. Well, there came a day when the young man died, and the three men, especially along other people that knew him, were very sad, very sad. But then they realized that this whole situation was much like God's own son coming to the earth, being born, growing up, going to work, being around people, and how he changed their lives when people would let him in their lives, and how they would follow him and follow his example, and not just his philosophy, but his proven points that were coming from God through him and to the world. And they realized, just like they took this baby in and there were things that they just wanted to change to make it a better environment, that's exactly how it was when they took that baby in. And their Christian life was just like that as well, that when they invited Christ in, they wanted to, desired to, and actually did change some things. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. They had that desire there. That's the whole main point of this particular story. If I was writing it, I would end up writing a whole lot more, and even saying it, I have to try to pull back the reins a little bit and not say too much so that it's not too long. But I hope that this story will stick with you, that you enjoy it and you think back to it. Maybe you even rewrite it and write it better than I have. But I thank you for stuff that you read and stuff that you listen. And most importantly, I just hope you hear what God says to your heart. Thanks. Take care. Go with God.